Literally, May gameplay is just be as annoying as possible. It's across all comps, all everything. Just make sure you're the biggest thorn in their side as possible. No one likes playing against May. No one. No one likes getting walled. No one likes getting frozen. And you gotta embrace it. You gotta be as annoying as possible.
I'm here with Backbone, formerly of the London Spitfire, and I think it's fair to say that globally, you're recognized as one of the best, if not the best, Mei player in the world. You have a lot of experience. Your team was very knowledgeable about that particular comp. It was a lot of Rhine, even though I would say the Rhine was a little bit overplayed in terms of the signature type of the composition that it gave you, right? It was also equally Mei, right? Like there were very few cases during your time with the Spitfire where those two champions didn't or heroes didn't come up at the same time, right? Same with maybe Baptiste. I think you guys just played a lot of your signature heroes, right?
Yeah, maybe only like play-ins we didn't play Mei, and that's just because Sim Bastion was better. But even then, like Mei was decent. So most of the time it was just Mei, yeah.
All right, so we're here recording in November of 2023. Where's Mei right now in terms of hero strength?
I think she's one of the best DPS in the game right now, by quite a margin, actually. I think there's an argument that she's even the best DPS in the game right now.
How so?
I think her kit's a bit overtuned currently with the new left-click change. I think her right clicks are still just as strong as they've always been. I think her left clicks just give her a ridiculous amount of damage and a really easy kill in a 1v1. Her ult's still really good. She's a 250 HP hero with self-sustain with her ice block, and her wall can just catch people off guard. So like overall, her entire kit's just really, really strong right now.
Is that only for competitive in terms of esports play, or is that also in rank play?
I also think it's probably the case for ranked play. I think you'll struggle to play her on some of the longer maps in ranked unless you're just a sniper on Mei, but the only thing you should really be scared of as Mei in comp right now is like cross-map one-shot heroes, but even then, Mei can still duel those people fairly easily, so I think it's the case for both.
You told me beforehand that you're actually not playing a lot of Mei in ranked. Why is that?
It's definitely not because she's a bad hero in ranked, it's just because for me personally, when I play Mei in ranked, I just end up overthinking things like mechanics, which I kind of don't need to on Mei. I know that they're good enough. Like if my mechanics ever fell off a cliff on Mei, then yeah, I'd have to look at it in ranked properly and like practice it in ranked. But for me personally, playing Mei in ranked is only gonna hurt me probably in the long run because I'll just overthink things I shouldn't. Where I can just look at VODs to see the important like macro stuff that I need to improve on for Mei, which you can always improve on. You can always improve on mechanics too. It's just for me, it's something I try to avoid on Mei.
So you selected a match bot here. Now, how representative do you think your Mei play is here of the average ranked experience comparatively? What would you say is different?
I mean, kind of a lot is different in this VOD, I think, because it's quite high-level team play from us at times. I think with the sim to get around certain things with the dive. For the Mei play, it's like a lot of the stuff that I'll do would still be good to do against a dive comp in ranked. Like it'll still be probably the best thing to do against dive comp in ranked. Like all the things to look out for. So the Mei play on paper is probably pretty similar.
So, do you want to set the stage? What are your general ideas? So we're looking at a composition. It's a dive composition. It's maybe a little bit unique, right? The fact that they're playing Doomfist, maybe it depends on the meta, on the rank meta, but like maybe a hero you'd.
This was probably the best anti-Rhine dive comp at the time. Not anti-dive. This is the best anti-Rhine dive comp at the time. Probably it's probably the 5 best heroes you could have picked. There's an argument that maybe Mercy isn't the best, but I mean when you got someone like Stalker on Echo, like. You can pocket the guy and it'll probably be fine. So the basic ideas for me into like a dive comp like this is whenever possible, just make their lives hell, you don't want to let them get their dive off. Their dive going off will always result. If they get a clean dive off, you're always going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
Even in ranked, if they get a clean 3-2-1 dive off, you will always lose. So you kind of have to have a checklist in your head of all the things that can kill you. So you got in this specific case you got like Ananade, Echo Stickies, and like a Doom Genji engage, or just the engage overall. So whatever you can do as Mei against dive or Mei, or basically just as Mei in general, you're basically a pseudo off tank. So you should be thinking a lot more about what you can do to keep your team alive and like prevent their team from doing things the same way an off tank would in like Overwatch 1. So in this case, for this map, with our weird go point strategy, a lot of the gameplay for me was looking to block Ana LOS and stop DPS from getting a clean engage off, whether that's by walling off the way they want to come in, by peeking and poking them early so they can't come in on full HP to make it harder for them, or even just by scouting where they are properly so I could tell my team at the time so we could play around it. But it's basically all prevention in this, especially in the neutral, especially like with no ults on the table. I don't have Mail, I've not got any of their ults to worry about. It's all about preventing them from getting what they want. The longer you can prevent dive from getting what they want, the better you'll fare, basically.
So basically, rule of thumb is be as annoying as possible towards the goals of the opponent.
Yeah, literally, Mei gameplay is just be as annoying as possible. It's like you've summed it up better than I ever could. It's across all comps, all everything. Just make sure you're the biggest thorn in their side as possible. No one likes playing against Mei. No one. No one likes getting walled. No one likes getting frozen. And you gotta embrace it. You gotta be as annoying as possible.
Sure. Now, you're playing against one of the best dive teams in 2023, some would argue. It's the winner of the Mid-Season Madness, and, I mean, in the end, they weren't one of the favorites, I guess, but because you took quick care of them. But it's the Atlanta Reign, who had one of the most impressive first halves in Overwatch League history, I think.
Yeah.
And you were the guys to send them home, right? So we're here in the game on your POV, in the replay client, and as we said, you're playing into a dive comp. You're playing as here. Is that not a Ryan composition? I think. See, you're running.
He's speeding out spawn. It's Ryan.
Oh right. Okay, so it's Ryan.
Yeah.
And you said basically they are trying to play beautiful music, and you're the triangle coming in, interrupting their beautiful song that they're trying to compose, and being as annoying as possible.
Basically, I've got to be the annoying kid at the back of a cinema, ruining the experience for everyone by screaming and crying in the middle of the movie. They're trying to sit down, have a nice time. I gotta ruin it.
All right, let's see how you are the most effective killjoy. All right. So you're generally why? What is the idea behind post off spaces, going on points? Why is it good to do that in Mei's case?
It's really good to play for point for Mei because he's just got so much to help, like, capture it. Basically, she's got wall to cut off LOS from other people getting in. She's got wall to cut off escapes, cut off entrances. You can even ice block on certain chokes to block people going in and out. That's something I try to do a lot that can really pay off if you pull it off. And obviously, if you're a Mei in a corner and someone walks through a choke and you're just holding left click, then it's a bit hard to clear you. It's not, because you can stay there forever. Basically, it's not easy to clear a Mei out of a room once she's in it.
For sure. So, rule of thumb: noticed as enclosed a part of the map is, the map architecture, the better it is for me. Right?
Yeah, corners are your friend. Corners and rooms are your friend on Mei 100%.
Sweet. All right.
Okay, so for here, it's all about trying to stop their dive. So the moment you see them go any side, so you're just chucking a wall to do it, I'm checking the back to make sure no one's coming from there to, kill us. And then every now and then I'll look for a kill threat if I see it, like on the Mercy there. But it's all about stopping them from all being able to hit the same target, basically. If all of Dive can hit the same target, then they'll always kill everything. You can. There's a chance that a Genji, solo kill something, or especially a Mercy pocketed Echo solo kill something. But if you let the Mercy and the Echo hit the same target, the chances go a lot higher. So the best you can do as the mate to stop it and stop your team from just getting 2-man, 3-man dived on, the better. There's also the element of the fact that you have a really good 1v1 against both these heroes. Like, it's not perfect, but this is old Mei where she didn't have broken left click, but on current Mei, you can, especially versus Genji cannot stay within like 5-10 meters of you, because if you just hold left click on him, he will die. So for this fight, because we've lost people, we have to go full chaos mode, we call it on London, where we have to try and just kill things and make the fight as messy as possible. So I've basically given up all hope of playing slow and disrupting. I'm literally just purely going for kills at this point. But actually that's not true, because we have point, so I'm actually trying to make sure Mei's really good at stalling point as well. So you're pretty much always going to be the best person to stall point on your team, except maybe a full HP tank. You can wall yourself in corners and then use ice block after. You can ice block, then wall yourself in corners. You have a lot of potential to delay it out and slow it down. So because we're down here, I'm looking to both stall point and not let them flip, since you need the objective to win in Overwatch, and I'm also looking for kills wherever I can.
Just generally say you're less concerned about your own ability to apply kill pressure and more in maybe, randoming a headshot, possibly killing someone that way, or at least setting up your DPS in order to finish. And then for the rest of the time, you're just preoccupied shutting down your supports from dying and trying to protect and really, cause a ruckus in their beautiful harmony.
Yeah, there's definitely points where going for kills becomes the best way to disrupt things. So in a case like this fight where our BAP died first, if your main heal goes first, you're not going to win a long drawn out fight anyways.
Let's talk about the different types of wall usage that you have had, right? I think in this sequence here, it illustrates 2 different walls. I think there are more, but
I think just 2, yeah.
But the first one, I would argue, is more keep yourself alive wall. Or the second one, rather, is
the second one.
And then the first one is disruption and causing chaos, right? And maybe cutting someone off from the team. All right.
So in this exact situation, I think I haven't gone past it yet. I haven't. So I because I'm the one that's stalling point, and everyone else is off trying to kill things. They might come back to point to kill things, but I'm stalling point. My first thought is to use wall to lock myself in the corner and buy more time, right? That's basically what I'm playing for. My first thought to use wall here, I'm alone on point with 3 people, and I'm the one stalling, is to wall myself in the corner to keep myself safe for longer and buy more time on the objective, basically. But as my wall is coming off cooldown, this beautiful German man pins onto point. So instead, I change the wall to be one to cut off, the enemy team, so we can try and get the kill on the Doomfist at the time. You can see that I was kind of ready for it, because had he called that it was happening, but if it was a second later, you'd still be able to react to it, and you'd still be able to wall and cut people off. So again, it's just disrupting. This Genji wants to get in and try and help his Doom. Mercy's obviously rezzing, but it's all about making this Doom's life hell. And then when the clip goes on a bit, force the ult, get the res off. I'm back in the corner, hiding like a little rat again. And then for the second one, I'm gonna wall first. If you can, the longer you can hold your ice block on Mei, the better it tends to be. The greedier you can be with ice block. It's a really important cooldown. It's a second life basically. So if at all possible, when you're trying to stall out, wall is always better to use first, because sometimes they can get around wall, sometimes they'll break it, but ice block is always definite. So if you can use the the wishy-washy one first that can then train into the secure one, it's better to do, I guess. Then I'm just sitting in the corner, stalling, being annoying, and then I get to come out and jump scare people again, and then I get to ice to stall it for longer. Because I've been on this point for 40% now. I screwed up my last wall there. I don't know why. I could have clicked and bought an extra couple seconds, but yeah, the entire point of these walls is just to either stall point or to block LOS of people when we're trying to kill someone, basically.
Do you think, we covered wall, is there anything to say about doing a good ice block? How do you make sure that you're not the one dying without ice block having been used,
Yeah, firstly, sometimes it just happens. Sometimes you will just die with ice block and you'll look like an idiot, but that's life. Secondly, a lot of it is knowing what your support is doing. So, obviously on London, we have the best Baptiste in the world, so I have a lot of trust in him, and I don't need to look at where he is. But in ranked, the little I do play Mei, I have to check where my supports are a lot and check, what supports they are, and then, if I've had one life where I should have got healed and I didn't, then you have to adjust your playstyle to be more willing to do it, right? So, Mei in ranked, you have to be more willing, like game by game, to figure out how good your supports are, and how much they'll actually heal you and help you. Generally, against dive, you don't want to use ice without. I only want to have used ice because I've forced something out or because I'm annoying something. I don't. If they can force my ice before I do anything to force them off of position or anything, then I'd probably consider that like a bad ice block. In Brawl, you kind of just don't want to use it ever. Every ult in Brawl will kill you if you use your ice block. So you need to be really aware of that. You can bait a lot of ults by popping it quickly. A lot of Meis will instantly throw it and then you can run out of it. But in general, like in Brawl, unless their Mei is on you, like their Mei tank is on you, you don't really want to use it. And against dive, it's just like don't get it forced early. The longer you can hold on to it, the better, really.
Is there ever a case where you use your block not for yourself, but to create like an LOS window for your supports? Maybe.
Yeah. There was one strat that we had on Busan Downtown that we pulled off against the Gladiators in the scrim, and I get rinsed for it. But we would wall up and block a doorway, and we basically kill everything in that room because of it. So you can. Sometimes on London, if Landon was in trouble, I'd try to ice in front of him. It wasn't something I do often because it's not very good, frankly, but it can work. But also just blocking these doors, can be really good. Again, it's more of a thing for the Brawl mirror, and in like a pro comp, you can't really block half these heroes because they'll just go up or around you. But you can, if a team's trying to come here to stop C90 or 99, you can just ice block right here and stop them. It's really good as kind of a secondary wall in certain cases, but you got to be careful because you're obviously gonna pop out wherever it is after. So if you do it in their spawn here and then they manage to touch and you're in 4 people, you're trolling a little bit.
Right. So for instance, in situations where something might be coming in like a Shatter or a Diva Bomb, you probably just want to hold your wall in order to protect your team from it, not really necessarily. Yeah. Right.
If you're trying to protect your team, wall against Shadow is really good. Ice block against Shadow is actually, it blocks way more than you think it does for how small ice block is. Another thing you can do that's actually quite common, I think, like a lot of the good EU mains do it, is if someone on your team gets CC'd or sleep was the most common one, I think. Like if your Ryan gets slept, if you're playing Ana Ryan for some reason, your Ryan gets slept, a lot of enemy Ryans will instantly go to, shatter that, so you can just block it. You can block nades. Nades is probably the one I try to block most with ice block. I'll try to jump and catch a nade with my ice block to prevent it hitting my backline. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes you end up just getting yourself naded and your backline, but it can be worth the try.
Sure. The response time is also much quicker than a wall, presumably, right?
Yeah. I mean, you literally just have to press one button. You don't have to. You have to press 3 buttons for. Maybe 2 or 3 buttons for wall, and you have to aim it. Whereas ice block, like, if I'm on point standing right here next to this Ana and I see a nade coming and I don't think I can get the wall down in time for whatever reason because it's like right here, then I can try and jump ice block it, you know. But again, it's not really a thing worth it. It's more of like a flashy play. It's not actually that good because like maybe 1 out of 1,000 times it will be worth blocking that nade, but the other times it'll just be like, okay, I'm better off having my own ice to try and win the fight after my backline get naded.
Those are the two big cooldowns. I think it makes sense now to go into the gun and see like how that stuff is best manipulated. Do you feel that the new mate change has made it so that you want yourself to be in different positions than you were before? Because I guess like before, it made some sense to have some range because, you know, the ice pick was still pretty good. But now, like, the kill pressure in short range is super high. So, do you think that should see an adjustment in how you play Mei?
I think for the most part, you're probably within everybody that you're going to be able to left click. Like with Genji with Doom, you're never going to get close enough to left click them unless they're diving or they want to be close enough. You know, like they know the risks when they're coming close to a Mei. So you can kind of play the same positions. Like you just play like a medium range sniper thing, and then obviously if you're playing a choke, you can play close and go for the left clicks more. But like in a situation like this, obviously this is pre-made left click buff, so like I wasn't really looking for it. But I'm not having to play off point to left click like Doom here. You know, I could still be in the same spot and just jiggle peek it. So I don't think it changes positioning that much, no.
All right. Now, do you have any tips? What kind of, like, how the right click is best aimed and when you should attempt to get it off?
I think you can just spam it half the time, to be honest. Like, I don't know about specific tips for aiming. I mean, I've been told that people think like I tend to just flick my shots last second, so I guess that's what I do. I've not really thought about it. I try to not think about aim stuff when it's going well, if that makes sense. So, but yeah, basically just. Yeah, I mean, aiming's just aiming. I'm not gonna lie. Like, yeah, every hero's got a different aim, so I don't think there's any secret to any one hero about how to aim. You just got to figure out what works for you. You might find it easier to full track. You might find it easier to flick last second, like I do.
All right. Any technique, any ideas how you want to left click? How to maybe assure a kill now, or like what your general goals are in left clicking?
I mean, with left clicking now, against like divey heroes like GGRecon, you can basically just, the moment you're within range, just left click, because the moment it hits them, they've got to run. I mean, again, it's just, you just got to aim the left click on them. You can aim slightly ahead of the direction you think they're going to run, and you'll get max damage. Against like brawly comps, like, you know, other Lucio comps, and also just in general, if you can ever get a cleave of 2 people with your left click now, it's 100% worth. On this patch, it wasn't really enough damage, and it was just a slow, so personally, I just went for trying to kill them. But with the current damage buff and the slow buff, or technically nerf these days, I think, it's down to 30 now, it's 100%. If you can get a cleave at any point, you should 100% be trying to hit multiple people. You'll do way more damage. Way more damage.
We have the cooldowns with the gun.
Yeah.
What's left is the ultimate.
The ultimate. Okay. Mayotte is a pretty good ult. You can use it in a bunch of different ways. It depends. Like it's a bit situational. In Brawl, it's very much that you want to try and hit the tank and you want to try and hit the Mei. Like with Mayotte, you should be happy with hitting 1 person, and you should be like really happy with 2+, right? You shouldn't be trying to get 5-man Mayottes with every single ult. It's not feasible. There's too many cooldowns in the game that stop people from getting frozen. So in Brawl, the cooldowns you want to look out for are like Amp, Ice Block, Pin if it's Orion, Form if it's a Ram, Fortify if it's a Risa, you know, like all the ones that just stop it. In a comp, in more of a divey comp, you've basically got 2 options with your ult. You can either use it to, we called it like a second lamp on London where, if we didn't have Lamp for their next dive, I'd just mailed it and we'd hope that would be enough that they wouldn't be able to stay in and kill us. Or you can go for like a cheeky, flank play kinda and try and kill Ana. Or kind of, I guess a third option is just using it to cap points is the best option really. Using it quite commonly on this map, we'll try to save Mayot for retakes. I think that's literally what we just did actually, where we TP over and we TP over this gap, and on their not even on their engage, I hear a Doom Punch and I just instantly ult to make it so we get flip, because again, objective is the most important thing in Overwatch. So against a comp like this where it's harder to actually get kills with the Mayot, you can use it for objective, like to get the cap, to get the point, to get whatever.
Sure. So it's both an objective control unit and a defensive unit that keeps your supports alive a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit more the idea of a second lamp?
Second lamp is kind of just, it's not something we did that often, but it is something we played around with a bit. When you're playing against dive specifically, lamp gets forced a lot. It's just a fact of life. So if you're then able to put a Mayo in a spot and your BAP specifically, like BAP mainly, and maybe your like Sim if you've got a squishy second DPS, is able to then just make it so if they're going to die, the person shooting them has to be in that and has to fight in that. Like you basically get another 5-10 seconds of reprieve, I guess, where you just get to live and you get to stall out time longer. Because again, like against dive, the longer the fight goes, the better it is for like the rush team, the team with the Mei. Like our comp wins over time, their comp wins on timings, like their comp has to 3-2-1 go, ours is just stable.
So we're back on Suravasa, and this is a situation where you have already secured the first point.
Yep.
And presumably you're now tracking what kind of ultimates have been used, which ultimates are likely up. How aware are you of this at this point?
We're all aware. Like we're aware of what's happening. Aware of we pretty much already we do know what we already have to do. I've forgotten these days, but I know back then that I knew what to do. No, we've got to take the angles. We've got to stop them from getting a clean dive, and then we need to send someone to point and play slow from there. Basically, we have to live the nano and then win over time. We just got to live the first engage because it's dive. We can't really go pre-fight unless Hattie hits a shatter. Even then they've got cleanse, so it's not that great. So we're basically just playing for time, trying to get point, trying to live their nano. That's basically what we've got to do. So for me, I've got to try to make sure that they can't all get in on the nano engage, whether I wall off the Doom, whether I poke out the Echo beforehand, poke out the Sojourn beforehand, or if I can't do any of that, then I'll just have to wall the backline when the dive goes off so they can't support it. But I have the opportunity to drop an Mayot to stop them from doing it, but again, it's not my preference to do probably. Since we've got beat and shatter, I kind of want to save Mayot for this fight. So I'm kind of just going to take an angle. I'm going to try and be able to poke them. Ready to wall off their LOS as they come onto point here. And we are going to trade the Mayot for the nano, I guess. I guess that's just what we decided to do at the time. Perfectly fine play. Stops them from getting in. The wall stops them from supporting it properly as well. And obviously, the GGRecon is just not having fun over here. So at this point in the fight, we've survived the nano engage. So now we kind of get to, I get to play a bit more aggressive. I don't have to... For the next like 10 seconds, I'm able to peek aggressively, do aggressive things. I don't have to sit on my backline as much. So Hattie's, in trouble, so we're having to beat him. So I, as the Mei, I don't have wall yet. I can't really do anything to the Doom Kiri over here unless I just hit a Miracle 2-tap on Kiri, which just isn't realistic, so I have to go for the next best thing. Which is not... I'm looking for a kill here, but I'm not expecting one, I'm more just playing to block these people from being able to shoot Hattie so we can stabilize and force out the Doom. In this case, I believe I get a kill though, which is really fortunate. But again, like I was literally just peeking, trying to get a kill into a wall to stop them from being able to pressure point. Like it's all minimizing what they can do. Lucky to get a kill, but and then it's kind of just back to it again, taking angles, trying to get back to the team to help the dive and pressuring other people. I'm trying to watch the Sojourn to make sure she doesn't flank onto point and get an angle on my backline.
The decision to jump down, right?
Yeah.
Is that predicated on just like you having beat and also Hardy having some pressure and you want to alleviate some of that? Or would you otherwise just sit up top and just try to continue poking?
I think it doesn't matter that we have beat. I think I was always going to drop there just because Hattie had five people shooting him, so I needed to try and get some of that off him so we could keep him alive. And then obviously I managed to get a 2-tap, which is nice. That's just going to happen sometimes. But if not, I'd have just walled. Like if I don't get the kill there, and they don't go out, the Doom doesn't run. It's literally just like a wall clear point angle. You know, it's literally just playing for objective. It's not. I'm not sitting here until I get a kill, you know? I'm literally just shooting like 2 or 3 shots, walling, and then turning to clear point and turning to help my team. I'm not trying to clutch up, even though I did. And then again, it's like, we're going to play to clear point, so I'm going to wall main and try to pressure carry. We call it there's an echo behind, or I hear it, I don't know. So I'm literally, again, just playing to not let this guy in. I'm fine to ice for this. Like, I'm fine to lose some HP in ice because I've forced the Echo to not be able to dive. I've got 2 people's attention on me right now because of it too, which is really important. Because that means that over time, you know, if it stays like this, we're winning the point fight. Again, just clearing out people. Whatever's being most annoying. Like, this wall is just objectively going to always get value. And if I know the Ana's on main, this wall is always going to be good. Because unless she rotates here, it's going to block her LOS. Unless she rotates here, it's going to block her LOS. And it's going to make their life harder. Like, Hawk is just unable to get Ana heals or Kiri heals right now because Chio's over there. And literally all I've had to do is just sit on high ground and do nothing. And I'm just... again, it's literally all just... It's like gatekeeping. I'm literally just gatekeeping their team from doing what they want.
See, you said an interesting thing, which is like 2 people had to pay attention to you. Now, it's simple arithmetic then to say 2 people pay attention to you. They do not have more members. That just means that only 3 people can look at your 4 teammates.
Yeah.
Is this how you usually do the mental math of like, I played well here because I kept the attention of X people without dying?
Yeah. If I'm able to... Yeah, if you're able to hold attention on any hero, even just like not even just me. If I'm Tracer here and I have 2 people looking on me, it's the same thing, right? Like Overwatch is a very laney game. Like if you think about like League of Legends, where it's like, oh, if you can have multiple people in one lane, effectively on this flank, if I have 2 people looking at me, it's a 1v2 lane and I'm stalling out, which means we hard win the other lane. Like you should 100% be happy with that on basically any hero. Like obviously there are exceptions and there are times where you need to be on the other lane yourself, but like I'm able to be here, I'm able to stall, I'm able to do it safely because I have ice block. Like the only risk here is that I get slept, or that I just get 2-tapped by Echo, which I mean can happen, but at the same time that's probably more on me. I mean it's on you if you get slept too. So if you're able to, you know, take the attention to your lane and be at a numerical disadvantage in your lane, then yeah, hopefully your team will just win the other lane like they should, and it is just the way that I kind of think about it most of the time.
When you are in cleanup mode, right? Do you guys ever evaluate how important it is to give the correct member the ult charge? Or do you just clean up?
Not when it comes to killing things. I am really aggressive, I'd say, about if I'm missing HP at the end of the fight, I always scream to not heal me, because you can just ice block it and you get so much ult charge from it. You get, like, I think if you're missing like 200 HP, you get like 10% ult charge or like 8%, which is a lot actually to just get for free. So that would be the only thing that I'd say during cleanup. Like, healing someone. Because the thing is, like, you leave a Echo, Kiri, or a Sojourn alive for a second, like, pissing about on who's going to kill it, they might just kill you. So I don't think we're overly... I don't think we've ever done that, but for healing, definitely. And for a Mei specific thing, if you can get your supports to not heal you after a fight, and you can then ice block and have it up in time for next fight, you should 100% do it, because block just gives so much ult charge.
Did you ever have the argument if, yes, like the ult charge is more, but maybe the Lucy ult is more important, let's say?
We had like the discussion about it, yeah. I think like if we're like close beat or close window, then you should give it to your supports probably, like get the ult instead of giving yourself like 40 to 50. But if it's like if no one's close, or if I'm close especially, I will always take it. But if your supports are like about to hit their ult, but they're like 10-15% off, then yeah, it's better to give it to them. 100%.
Sure. So, how do you initiate cleanup, so to speak? Or do you even care? Do you just let them run usually as Brocoms?
As Brocoms, it's like when you're trying to clean up these dive comps, you gotta be really careful because a 4v5, like four heroes on this dive comp can win against your comp still if you split up and stuff. So you got to be really careful about not overstepping into dive heroes. Like, if I don't have ice here because of the fights happen and I'm just walking forward willy-nilly, I can still 100% die to an Echo here, And I mean, that's actually just what happened to Sparker. Like, we overextend and he gets bopped, like, because we're not playing it properly. Like, we're walking too far forward into 4 people still, and he gets killed by 3 different people because that's just the power they've got, really.
For sure. Do you communicate your random dings?
Yeah. I usually, like, I'll say if I get any 1-1, and what I usually do is I'll say, like, hit once, hit twice if I'm body shotting, So if there's, like, an Echo in the sky, I've found that when I say, oh, hit once, hit twice, hit 3 times, hit 4 times, if they've got a Mercy Pocket or any kind of heals, like, it tends to make, on London, like, Landon or Sparker look at it sometimes, and then they'll finish it off. And it's kind of just an easy thing to do. You can just say hit once, hit twice, and it's an ego boost. You let your team know you're hitting your shots. So it's got double benefits.
For sure. Is there any other gameplay aspect that you would like to showcase about me?
Ooh. You know what? I don't have a clip for it, but just as an example, when your tank dies on Mei, you really can fill the tank, bro. Like, obviously it's not perfect, but you're a 250 HP hero with an ice block that can, delay and give you more HP. You're effectively like a 500 HP hero if you play it properly. So you really can decide that you're gonna stuff these chokes when your tank dies if the situation calls for it. Like, obviously, maybe don't do it if their tank is still alive on the choke, but if it's no tank versus no tank, you can really, alpha up and say, I'm holding here, I'm the tank, pocket me, I've got this. Like, it's a lot more doable. Mei's a scary hero to walk into through a choke and stuff. Like, even as a tank, you're scared to walk through a choke into a Mei.